Hey, welcome back. In today's class, we're going to practice a meditation that helps us to be more identified with the space in between the thoughts so that we can practice being the observer. Often, I have a tendency to become identified with my thoughts. So the stream of consciousness, whatever's coming through, and sadly to say, often the negative ones, I'll grab hold of those, and those will fill my mind throughout the day. So what I found is that if I take time in the morning to have a practice where I practice being more identified as the observer, then I don't get so caught up in that negative or anxious type thinking. I don't know about you. Maybe you're already enlightened. But for me, that's just how it is. So I'm going to encourage you that you can develop a practice like this. It doesn't have to be super long. It should just be a couple of minutes, like we're going to do right now. And what we're going to do is just close the eyes. Start by anchoring our awareness inward by observing the sensations in the body and the breath. And even taking in the sense impressions, like the sounds. I can hear some birds. I can feel a breeze on my skin. Notice what you can sense. And then it's not that we're going to try to arrest the thinking, but instead, we're just going to, oh yeah, that's a thought that filled my mind, and then let it go. Even the good ones, just keep letting them come and go. The quote unquote good. And what's it like just to be the observer? And when you settle into the space, could you let your shoulders and your neck relax a little more? Could you feel the heart open? Feels good. Now open your eyes, and in this backbend class today, we're going to start off with a little bit of a warm-up for the hip flexors so that we can see what those bad boys can do, and for our spine. So start by stepping your left foot up to your left thumb and let your hips sink forward towards your heel. And then reach your hips back into the half splits and glide the hips forward. Stretch the hips back and reach forward. Good. Change sides. Lean hips forward and stretch back. Lean forward and stretch back. Lean forward and stretch back. Child's pose. And come up onto hands and knees. Stretch back, downward facing. Step feet forward. Let your head drop down. Roll up to stand. And join your palms together. Take a slow breath in, draw the breath down. Let the ribs expand. And let it out. Release your arms down at your side. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come up halfway. And exhale, step back, plank position. Lower down slowly, come to elbow height. Lift back up. Lower slowly, 1 inch above the mat. Come back up. Lower all the way down. Slide your arms forward, reach through your fingers as you stretch back to your toes. Pull arms back into cactus. Inhale, reach forward. Exhale, pull back. Inhale, reach forward. Exhale, squeeze back. Slide your hands next to your side ribs, and as you inhale, roll the chest open in cobra. Exhale, roll down and press back into dog. Raise your right leg up behind you as you inhale. Exhale, bring your knee to your right armpit. Inhale, stretch back up. Exhale to your left armpit. Inhale, stretch back up. Exhale, step your foot up to your thumb and drop your back knee down. Now, reach down from your left buttock towards the back of your knee and then lift through the front of your pelvis. A little bit of pelvic action to bring you up as opposed to letting your pelvis do this. So we want to integrate the pelvis so that there's length through the lumbar spine as opposed to a dip. Then raise your arms. It's going to be important for what we're going to do in class today. Good. Now, from that action, bend your elbows, squeeze the elbows back and down, and back bend from your upper back. But pretend like I have my knee in your back and I'm pushing you forward and up. Stretch your arms back up, hands to the mat, step it back, down dog. Inhale your left leg up. Exhale, that's the left one, knee to left armpit. Inhale back up. Exhale, right elbow. Up to pit. Inhale back up. Exhale, knee to chest. And step your foot up. Drop your knee down. Lengthen through the buttock flesh. Lift through the front of the pelvis to upright yourself. And raise your arms up. As you exhale, bend the elbows, back bend from your upper back. Inhale it back up. Hands to the mat. Step back. Downward facing. Look forward. Step or hop to the top. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Sit back in the chair pose. Stand Samasthiti. Inhale into chair. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Plant hands, step back. Lower down, elbow height. Lift up. Lower 1 inch above the mat. Press up. Lower all the way down. Stretch arms forward, inhale. Exhale, pull elbows into cactus. And then reach your arms straight back behind you. Slide the hands next to your side ribs and inhale into cobra pose. Lower yourself down, stretch back into dog pose. Inhale your right leg up. Exhale, knee to chest. Inhale, tap your knee down. Exhale, pull it back to your chest. Inhale, tap down. Exhale, pull up. Inhale, tap down. Exhale, pull up. Step your foot up to your thumb. Push down through your heel. And as you track your hip, inhale, come up. Now that same feeling, lift through the front of your pelvis as you reach your buttock down. So you can liberate the lumbar. Full lumbar liberation here. Then bring your hands back down to the mat. Step back, downward facing. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, knee to chest. Inhale, tap down. Exhale, pull up. Inhale, tap down. Exhale, up. Inhale, tap down. Last one. Exhale, pull it up. Step your foot. Ground your heel, track your hip, and inhale, come up. Turn your triceps forward, lift your elbows, arms strong, arms straight. Good, hands back down, step back, plank position, take a vinyasa, or just stretch back into dog. Set your knees down, come to a kneeling position. Can you do this okay on your knees? If you can't, I'm really going to recommend that you check out the knee exercises video series. I'll put a link to that. Hope I don't forget to do that. That's a great series to help with your knees. Okay, but if you can kneel, that's great. Also, you can kneel by putting something underneath your buns, like so. All right, now from this kneeling position, we're just going to do a little inversion work before, because it's nice to get a different perspective before you go upside down. And we're going to do this. We already practiced headstand preparations. We're going to do arm balance, handstand preparations. So put your hands just in front of your knees and retract your shoulder blades, pull them in, and then spread them. Reach them to your hands. Hold in your core. And then as you press down into the tops of your feet, lift your knees up. Pretty good. Set back down. Let's try it again. Lean into your hands and lift your knees up. Back down. If it's too hard, take your hands forward a little more. Last one. We'll see if we can pull all the way up. See how it goes. Lean into hands. Reach shoulder blades. Hold core in. Lift knees. And then maybe lift buns. And as you reach into your hands, maybe you can lean your body weight forward over your hands. You hold for 3, 2. To make it more challenging, pull a leg up, heel up to butt, change, and then set it back down. Nicely done. Now let's do a stretch. Toe torture. With your toes curled under, all 10 toes if possible, you might be able to set the knees down and stand up on your knees. If that's too difficult, you can slide a block underneath your knees, and that will limit how much pressure there is on the toes. Feel what that's like, what we got going on there. Okay, we're gonna come back to that. Release that sucker, and then step your left foot forward, and we're gonna do a little butt action. Then take your elbows up, grab your right elbow, get the little butt action, lift up through your elbows and side ribs and side bend to your left. Oh, that feels so good. Now as you're side bending, spin your belly up towards your elbow. Gaze towards your, oh my gosh. Would you look at that? It feels pretty good. Okay, release that. Let's do the other side. We're trying to get right into here. That's where the stretch is going for. So you got that little butt tuck. That will help to put the stretch on this tissue here. Then you take your arm up, left elbow, ribs, sternum in and down, and then side bend. Can already feel it. And then when you add the little belly spin, like you're spinning your navel towards your left arm, oh my gosh, there it goes. Maybe you can feel all the way up through the fascial connections there from your hip to your armpit. And release that. Good. Because it's not just the muscles. I used to think it was just the muscles, and then Frank, thanks to the French osteopaths, now we get the understanding of the fascial connections, which is really where the nerves are that help you to feel the stretch. Okay, so from the back to the kneeling position with the toes curled under, you could do it with the block or not. Let's now take the right elbow up and slide the right hand behind you. Big exhalation to let the sternum deflate back into position. And then feel the stretch here. Breathe. And change. In yoga, we're trying to do nose breathing, but once in a while, I'll do an exhalation through my mouth to really let go. Like if I can feel like, oh, my body's really holding a lot of tension there, that helps me. You can give it a shot once in a while, see how it works for you. Okay, good. Release that. And then, I should have warned you on this sucker, but we're gonna go against a wall or a pillar for this. Now, if you don't have a wall or pillar, no worries, it's not a requirement. But we're going to try to wedge the leg up against that sucker. If you don't, you're just gonna practice the low lunge like we practiced last week, catching the foot or just holding. But if you do, you can slide your leg up against that sucker, knee towards the wall or pillar, and then foot forward. I have my right knee back, left foot forward. So this one's really nice because you don't have to grip and hold on. You can just let the wall do that work for you. And we're gonna spend a minute here stretching into these muscles. This has been one of the most important stretches for me in improving my hip mobility and also unlocking my back bend potential. So from there, you can then come up a little bit higher, and you can add a little movement forward and back if you like. Just don't let it get too PG-13. Got the neighbors looking over here. Just can't get too weird. Okay, and then from there, you can even try uprighting yourself and doing a little forward and back. Or to make it most interesting, take your arm up. That'll be the most challenging, and do a little movement back and forth. When the arm goes up, we put a deeper fascial connection stretch. And then as upright as is possible for you. Now don't push. Go to where you feel the stretch. So for me, I just spent a long time with the hands down. That was enough for me. I didn't need to come up any further. But over time, you might be able to put your back against the wall or something. Release that. And change sides. So step one is just hands down, seeing what she can do. And you might keep your knee, did I say this already? Further away from the wall. I did that for a while too, before I try to get my knee all the way close to the wall. And then step two, you might come up onto a block or something. And then I like to move forward and back with the breath. And the last dynamic one you could do is with the arm up if possible. And if all of those are easy, then you can try going straight up. But in whichever one you do, you want to get the feeling that the buttock can release down. You're not hinging from the lower back to go back. Buttock releases down, front of the pelvis stretches open. We're trying to get some opening in the quads and in the front of the pelvis, as opposed to just jamming from the lower back. Slowly release that. Okay, now we're going to see what these babies can do, what these open hip areas could do. So, come to a kneeling position, or you can take a block or whatnot. We've done this one a bunch, I know, but I just want you to see what it feels like after having done that. So roll the shoulders into position, deflate ribs, and then lift your buns. Oh yeah, that feels very nice, very smooth. Wow. That's the good stuff right there, let me tell you. Let me tell you. All right. And then stand up on your knees, clasp your hands behind your back, and roll your shoulders back. Lift up from the back of your heart as you reach the buttocks down. And release. Now, Dhanurasana, bow pose. Lie on your belly, bend your knees, and see if you can reach back for your feet. Now, if you have to do this, then don't worry about grabbing your feet, just pretend. Squeeze your heels to your buttock, hold your feet like this. You could also put a strap or band. But if you're like, oh yeah, I got them today, cool, but don't force. And then the first step is, can you stretch your quads and then create a little belly lift? So could you bring your heels towards your butt and reach your buttocks down so it's like a little pelvic tuck. Tuck the buttocks towards the backs of the knees. That's step one. Could you do that? Be totally flat. If that's going easy, then you might be able to keep reaching the buttock down and roll your heart. Melt your heart forward and up. And then if that's going easy, you might be able to reach the shins up and back. But I don't want to get anyone going too fast, so I'm just going to show the second step. We got a couple more weeks, so don't worry yourself. Good job. Lower yourself down, rest one cheek on the mat. That was a lot. Change cheeks. Up dog. Roll it up. Grip them buttocks down, lift through the front of the pelvis, and holy smokes, I got so much more opening for that up dog there. Stretch back. Downward facing dog. Okay, now at this point, I'm going to recommend that you lie on your back and do cross ankle over knee pose stretch, or we can try a pigeon, a single leg pigeon. So from this position, you're going to externally rotate your left thigh and then set the shin down. Then you'll slide your right knee back until you feel a stretch. Then you'll upright your chest. Now, you should be feeling the stretch in your hip. If you're feeling your knee torque, you don't have enough external rotation and abduction for this pose yet, you should focus on the lying on your back one. But if you're like, no, it's great, it doesn't feel like it's pulling in my knee, I feel it in my hip, then you can stay here for 5 breaths or go onto your elbows or lie all the way flat over your leg. So all different levels of flexibility, just make sure to honor yours. When I first started yoga, I did a lot of comparing, and I just thought like, oh, I just got to look like the person who's been doing it for a very long time or super flexible. And I just got to try to jam myself into that position. I would advise against that. That wasn't such a good strategy. Change sides. So you pull the leg up, turn it out without twisting the rest of the body, set it down, and then slide the other leg back. That's a way to do it. Now sit over onto your right hip. Bring your left leg around. Raise your arms up. Level 1, flexibility, you'll stay here just working on straightening your legs and straightening your spine. Level 2, you'll bend your knees and stretch out over your legs. Level 3, you'll stretch the legs and the spine. Then lie on your back. Practice your own Shavasana for a couple minutes, or click one of the videos for guided or silent. Thank you. Namaste.